Well, it says we're live, but I'm not seeing it on YouTube yet.
Of course.
Okay. Come on. What's going on? It's weird. StreamYard says I'm good. Hang on, people. Working on it. Okay. Says we're live. How you doing? I'm Big D. Welcome to my show, The Boiling Point. Today is the last day of the month, March 31st, 2024. Happy Easter, everybody. Today is the last day of the month, March 31st. Now what's going on? 2024. Happy Easter, everybody. Here we go.
Here we go, folks. Happy Easter, everyone.
See if something else happens here. There is a delay. Well, it didn't respond back at me, so I think we're good.
All right.
Please welcome John, a.k.a. Propane.
How you doing, folks?
So let's see. We're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to give a little background about the main event, and then give some details, and then I got a couple of short clips to show. And then I want to talk about the eclipse, some of the things that I've found on that as well. All right, so I'm going to start with, everybody's heard about the Baltimore collapse and the people that have died. God bless their families, and hope and pray that they make it through this, especially around Easter time and a special holiday like this. When I first seen the video, I had a lot of questions, like everybody does. One, I thought that bridge was well over 100 years old. The design of it, how rickety it looked. It didn't look like it was the steel was all that girthy. You know what I mean? It didn't look like it could hold much, especially if a boat ever hit it or a ship. You know. But come to find out that Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore that collapsed was built in 1977. And for it to come down as easy as it did, it's, to me, poor design. It could be poor design, heavy corrosion. I mean, it's salt water. Some are saying that they are able to see, which I do have, I believe if I can pull it up at the time, to show you the little clip of these minor explosions. And some say it could be electrical because it was a wired bridge for lighting. It's just wires coming apart. But there are certain areas where you do see the explosions or whatever it was, the flashes, we'll just call it flashes. Those flashes seem to be exactly where the bridge was separating. It's very fast, and you gotta pay close attention, but it does look like some of the conspiracy theorists, the way they make it sound is they can pinpoint exactly that it's where the bridge broke. And like I say, it's pretty fast, so I'm hoping I can get that up. Please bear with me. I do have a new a laptop. Someone let me borrow it, so that's what I'm using, and hope and pray that it holds up for at least this show. Now, these so-called charges, they didn't look like they were huge explosions. That's why I thought it was the electrical. But when it was pointed out, that they were in specific areas where the bridge actually broke apart, and that kind of made more of an awareness. Now, we also have General Flynn coming out, and he made a statement on, I think it was X, that the Baltimore bridge collapse is a black swan event. Is it? Again, that's, I guess, to the viewer. I mean, depending on where you sit, what side of the road you're on, conspiracy or not, it does seem a little suspect. Now, one of the things that was brought up, the master of the ship is from Ukraine. And I'm not saying Ukraine people are bad. I'm not saying anything like that, but it's going to go along with some other information that I have coming up. It is something to think about. And they're definitely, I mean, some ships, especially in specific ports where there's high current or high winds, it's known for, these certain ports around the world, they have to have a pilot. And for the most part, they have a pilot that comes on board and helps the ship leave port. And this one, I did get the report that a pilot was on board at the present time. Now, the reason why I say I bring up the master of the ship was from Ukraine is because of some, or not some, but many reports coming out from different channels on Instagram and Telegram and many different areas that are coming forward, posting congratulations and great work, and to expect more surprises in the United States and Europe, unless the U.S. provides more funding for Ukraine. Or they could just be claiming responsibility because they might not have done it, but they want the attention. But do they really want attention? I mean, isn't it where, you get sought after and taken out? I mean, I don't know if that's a good idea, but and before we go into the next one, or more of this, I do want to point out that US 59 bridge in Sallisaw, Oklahoma, has been shut down because it was struck by a barge. And is this something that always happens? And we just haven't been told? That's the only reason I bring this up. This bridge did not go down, but it is under investigation and under to make sure it is going to be safe going forward, because it did get hit pretty hard. Now, something that many people don't know about, and I didn't know it until I heard this, and it was sent to me. Thank you for helping out the show. Anybody who wants to send me anything, you can find usually in the description my email address. And if you want to help the show, you can send me whatever you want, just not illegal stuff. So many of you might not know that GPSs that drive these boats are not encrypted. When a Navy ship crashed into a cargo ship not long ago, I'm sure you probably remember that, it was a cyber hack that made that happen. And they came forward, at least with the information that is what happened. There are other ships that have run aground, especially up on beaches and different areas we never hear about, maybe once in a great while. But it's probable that it's more prevalent than what we were actually hearing. I'm sure there's more incidents, and especially going forward now, that we're going to hear more. Now, they're saying that this incident was not nefarious. How do they know so quickly? Biden stepped to the podium and told everybody that it's nothing to do with bad actors. What are we supposed to believe? This Biden administration said immediately after this happening that ISIS, or that the Russian attack on the Russian theater, that ISIS was behind the attack. How did they know it so fast? How did they know it so fast that there was no nefarious actors in this collapse of the bridge? Yet they still can't tell us who killed JFK. Can't give details on 9/11 attack. Can't tell us who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. But in minutes after the collapse, that early morning, they knew it was not nefarious. They are lying to us. Remember in all the rubble back in 9/11, during 9/11, that when the Twin Towers went down, they found passports of the men that took over the planes in pristine condition. How is that possible? But Americans sucked it up. Most of us now, because of those lies, we are awake. But we have to deal with, we are conspiracy theorists and, pointing fingers that you guys don't know what you're doing or you don't know what you're talking about. Many things have been coming forward and proven that we have been correct. Some say that, what's the difference between conspiracy theorists or conspiracy theories and reality? They say it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I've seen some reports to counter that. I mean, here you have the White House saying one thing, and then you see like news reports or internet reports. Oh, the investigation could take up to 2 years to find out what happened. Two
Yeah.
years to find out what happened. You would think within 48 hours they would kind of have an idea of what happened.
You think that would be correct?
You know what I mean? You would think, you know what I mean? But 2 years, and then, like you say, the White House and Biden's, oh, it's not terrorism, but it might take 2 years to figure it out. Right. Amazing.
Let's see if I can make this happen where I can share some of these screens.
Keep watching this area here. Yeah, watch the fire and the molten metal spewing off as the bridge collapses. Watch, goes along. Watch. Look, see that? Look, little explosions. Okay, why is a bridge that's been hit by a ship over there having explosions over here? Keep watching. Let's keep watching it. Look, bang, explosion, explosion, both at the top and the bottom, explosion, explosion again. More smoke coming out of it. Look, on fire as it's going down. There we go, right there on fire. Ready? Look, here's the smoke in the air here. Keep watching. Look, watch it again. Watch. Watch here. Look, fire, 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 fire. See? Steam as it hits the water. Funny, look, more fire, loads of fire. They demolished the bridge, people. Wake the fuck up. Distraction story again.
See, that's why I kind of can see that, it's not a large explosion that we're talking about, but it is in the area where it actually splits. Do you have opinion, John?
Well, I seen that exact video there during the week, and you see other ones where you don't see that. At least,
could it be Photoshop, video shop,
Well,
So, I
It's
say take it,
possible. And
use it
and
on the
like,
treadmill.
didn't you mention that like obviously the possibility that it's electric lines or light being severed, power lines. I don't know what else
Yeah,
goes over that bridge. I'm sure there's some type of electricity that's going through. I mean, that think of it this way. If you're investigating something and you have actual video of what appears to be explosions, I'm sure there has to be someone that knows that there's is there electrical lines crossing that part of the bridge at them junctions or not? I mean, that should be real easy to find out or to debunk if it was
yeah,
explosions or not.
yeah.
Someone should know in the Baltimore area what utilities or whatever go over that bridge. So that should be an easy thing to debunk. The kind of weird thing is when you first seen videos of it, I didn't notice any explosions, and then later on, you seen videos of explosions. I mean, compare that to the other one that's like the original one that we start seeing. Is there explosions in that one, or flashes of light as compared to the one that this guy's showing? I mean, these things can be manipulated with Photoshop and
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
you know,
I'm trying to keep my mind open and like try to say, okay, well maybe it was the electrical because I know that thing was all lit up,
right,
and then but I don't know enough about electrical. Like if you pull it apart, and then there's some strands of wire that hit the bridge, the metal part, it's gonna arc.
right,
But can it actually catch fire?
yeah. Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Uh, I mean, the video right there looks authentic. Um, I've dealt with and done many type of videos and Photoshop stuff over the years, and sometimes you can actually pick it out if it's fake. Um, this one doesn't appear fake to me, so logically, I would say, okay, well, I guess I would go with electricity being severed at first. Um, but who knows? Like I said, that's something like that. If there's something, a conspiracy, that's something that could be proven real easy by some authority in the Baltimore area. Like, that would be easy to find out. Maybe not
Yeah,
for us, but I mean, someone should say, well, what you're seeing is not explosions. It's because, A, we got, you know, this amount of power lines going to the across to the other side. You would think
yeah.
it'd be easy to debunk it, and instead of letting it fester
And
as
also,
possible.
how is it that it caught fire? So if it was electrical lines and it caught fire, someone I would like to have an explanation of how it caught fire. But
Right,
when you have um, a household current and that creates a fire, you can actually see the melting of the and fire created just by the plastic and the
right,
things that are around that. There's like a paper in there.
right,
So there's other things that could make it a fire, but that looked like quite a bit bigger fire than I would expect.
right. The only thing I can compare that to is like if you're comparing it to like something would happen to a home or something. Um, Usually, if something you have an electrical issue that causes a spark and a fire like that, it's usually not a complete sever. There's always something else connected, or it's burning, it's getting hot. The bridge looks like it was completely severed. So once something's severed, would it catch on fire? I mean, once that power shut off or
Oh,
severed,
it's no longer grounded.
you know what I mean? So will the part that's not getting electricity no more? Let's say it's electricity. Is that going to catch on fire, or will it just stop instantly? I would think it would just stop instantly, as opposed to something in your house, where only one element's going wrong, but the rest is still hitting the box or
Yeah,
whatever. You know what I mean? Well, I could see
yeah.
that, but in that video, it seems like the structure itself is severed, So what are we seeing? Are we seeing an explosion and then the sever, or are we seeing the sever and then you know what I mean, the spark type thing?
Yes. Yep.
It's really hard to say. It's really hard to say, but still think it should be easily debunked if someone did their homework. You know.
So I do have one more clip to show, and there's a lot of discussion about how the ship lost steering. Now, this clip is going to show that it should never have lost steering, and they have backups. So I'm going to play that for you now.
Here, which is where we steer the ship. There are two steering gears. We have a number one steering gear and number two steering gear. These will alternate every day. Even days we try to run the number two pump, and odd days we run the number one pump. So you can see today's the 16th. That's an even day. So we have the number two pump running. Whenever we're coming in and out of port, we always have the number one pump on though, because that's attached to the emergency bus. So if we lost power, the emergency diesel generator would turn on and would still give us power to our steering. Coming in and out of port, we always have the number one pump on though, because that's attached to the emergency bus. So if we lost power, the emergency diesel generator would turn on and would still give us power to our steering. 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 We're up on the navigation bridge, and I'm standing in front of the helm here, which is where we steer the ship. There.
So to me, a backup
Looks like Big D's got. Looks like he's frozen. Let's give him a chance here. Yeah, you would think ships, airplanes, I mean, redundance. There should be backup systems in place. I find it very odd that you would have a complete failure of every system. Um, looks like we lost Big D. Very odd. Very odd that you would see all the systems and the backup systems go down at the same time. Now, I don't know where Big D was heading down this story. So I really can't continue on to what he was doing. So just give me a second here and we'll see what's going on. I'm also starting to have problems. My camera just went off now. What is going on here? Let's see if Big D comes back. Hold on, let me see if I can get in touch with him. Okay, Big D's trying to get back on. Big D, I'm not sure if you can hear me. My camera's down. Try to use the same link. Because if I log out, it'll be a whole new live. But as long as I'm on here, you should be able to get back in. I don't know if he's having any success here. Is that you, Big D?
He's having any success here.
Now we got an echo.
JJ Watt was.
What is going on here on YouTubers? Sorry about that, folks. I don't know if I should stay on or what. Is he coming back in? Oh. I can't even share my screen now. Let's see if I can get you something to listen to. In the meantime, well, looks like another unfortunate technical difficulty.
How you doing, John?
Hey, he's back.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. This time the software kicked me out and wouldn't let me back in. And it looks like it ended the stream.
Now it's still going from my end.
It's not with the YouTube and all that. It ended immediately, I guess. Something's going. Yeah, it's flashing. Everything is flashing back at me. And I only have the software that's needed to run this. I don't have anything like I had before.
Well, see, from my end, it's live, 29:58
Live?
and moving.
That is weird.
I'm pretty sure we're still live. Now, see, because when you get knocked off, I become you, and if I come off, then it goes dead. But I kept it live, waiting for you to get back on. So we should be. It's the counter's clicking from my side.
Huh. I'll see if I can get the other thing open.
I'm pretty sure. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can do it this way. Yeah, not that one. You got to go to the. I just seen it a little while ago. You're probably looking at the viewing the wrong YouTube one. Um, oh, I lost it. Where'd it go?
Hmm.
Let me see if I can do it. I just had it a little while ago. I was pretty certain I was live. There we go. I can see it. I can see you right now.
Yeah, it's still clicking away. I don't know why.
No, just continue on, I guess.
All right.
Or did you lose the video links?
No, actually, those are all set, anyways.
Okay. No, I think we're still live.
All right, I can go with the information for Eclipse.
There we go. Sorry about that, folks. YouTube loves us.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy with my luck with electronics lately. I used to complain when others had that same issue, and here I am with a piece of junk laptop, and I don't have any issues. Now, now it's biting me.
She never said that. See that?
Yeah. So let's talk about the eclipse. On April 8th, everybody knows many people will be traveling to Oklahoma and different states throughout that band coming up through Texas into curving east into New York and far beyond. Oklahoma, which is one of the best locations to view the eclipse. The National Guard is only to be deployed in emergency situations. So, but during the April 8th eclipse, the National Guard will be deployed with hazmat response capabilities in case of an incident such as an industrial fire. I don't know why they are very specific about that, but why is it that something that specific? I don't know. It's one of those odd things that, why not say, well, because of the overflow of people going to be in one little area, or something like that. But to be very specific going forward, how many people are coming to Oklahoma to wear a pair of ugly glasses, to stare at the sun? But for some possible crazy reason, the National Guard is going to be in Oklahoma with hazmat response capabilities. Now, that's not just the National Guard. There's the police, especially state police, in many of the states and our where that path is going to be. They are going to be up in arms along with the National Guard. Now, the way I understand it, the eclipse is only going to be for a few minutes, 2-3 minutes in my area. There's some areas that are going to be 4 to 4.5 or something like that. But what is going to happen in that short period of time that they know and we don't? Because there's obviously something that we're not being told.
Yeah, I find that very odd that like it is that them stories about the National Guard, is that for real or are they just stories?
Well, this is
How do we know for sure?
yeah, that the information that I found was actually coming out of Oklahoma that they were going to have National Guard. They said it was because of many different reasons, but most of them were very vague. Like, okay, we're going to have them there because of the populated area. It's not normally populated into the fact that, say 100,000 people in a city or something extra.
Right.
Someone, the way I understand it is the awareness is, okay, you're going to go to a restaurant. There's going to be 2 hour wait because there's so many people there. There might be fights breaking out. That I might understand. But when they're talking, hazmat response capability, that doesn't sound like, crowd protecting other citizens with excessive amounts of people.
Yeah, and what about the reports about? I could take this either way, but the reports of school closings, stock up on 3 months of food and water. because of this. I think there's other areas that I've heard. I guess rumors of National Guard and stuff like it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, crowd control. I guess I could see that. You know, uh, but hazmat. I mean,
And
what are you
being
expecting
specific
that's going
about
to
it.
happen that you need hazmat? I mean, it's just it's bizarre if these reports are all true.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the last eclipse. I was outside. I videotaped it. A little uneventful, but you know what
I
I
know.
mean. I mean,
Get
uh,
out of hand over
there
something like
wasn't
this.
bombs going off. There wasn't crowds rushing down the street. I just don't get it. The stores were open. I mean, what's really going on? What's the difference? Crazy.
Yeah.
It's a scary thought because they're making it sound like something's going to happen. But what is that something? Guess we have to wait and find out, huh?
That is true. I don't know. Do you think the authorities are, going overboard, or do they know something? Maybe
Well,
it would be a good idea to make sure your car has a full tank of gas. Maybe at least a few weeks of food and water.
but
Cash,
why?
making sure you have cash on hand.
But why?
That's what I would like to know.
Why? Like what's gonna if it's not man made that something's gonna happen and they're tying it into a natural event. That's what it sounds like more to me. Sounds like
Yeah,
something man made is gonna happen or man's responsible for than a natural occurrence that's happened many, many, many times. It's just why putting the two together? I just don't get it. Is it fear mongering? Is it for real? Is it an attack on the United States? Is it you know something nefarious? Look here, don't look there thing. What is it? I
yep,
mean, everyone's riding with it. They're all watching this stuff. You'll see it too much on TV, but you hear it on the internet a lot about all these different situations. Like, what's it mean? What could it be? And your imagination starts to run wild, especially when they're saying, "Oh, your kids are going to be home. Stock up on food and water for what? For what reason?" It's weird.
Now it looks like Arkansas. They actually held a live training exercise that simulated emergencies that might happen during an eclipse. Now, like you said, could there be nefarious actors that they know about and they're training for that specific type event with a type of threat to our own country, to our own government? And does our own government know about what is actually happening and what could be happening? Could these so-called actors do something and place blame on the eclipse? Say, "Oh, that was an eclipse. It was. Don't worry about it. It was nothing nefarious about that."
I don't know.
Now, some have posted some details about the path, but I wouldn't be surprised that TV, internet, cell phones, maybe even power going out in some areas, especially some of the major city areas. And thankfully, it's not midsummer when AC is high or where AC consumption's high, and that would be required. But there are still areas that are going to need heat. So hopefully nothing happens. But now the path of this eclipse travels through cities of Jonah, Texas, several towns and cities named Nineveh. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correct. Rapture, Indiana. Also cross where the Ark is in Williamston, Kentucky. In 2017, that eclipse and the 2024 eclipse has an intersection, which is in, they believe is going to be one of the areas because it's a kind of a wide path that comes up is Makanda, Illinois. Now, why is some of the people talking about this for Makanda, Illinois? They're not saying why. Do they know something? I mean, there's just so many questions.
Right. There's the, like the biblical references to them towns. Some people were talking about. I heard another report about this happening in the past with certain solar eclipse that within months to a year, they seem to cross certain fault lines where there could be earthquakes uh, that occurred shortly after these certain eclipse events. Uh, I've heard all kinds of things. It's just crazy. Uh, you would think that when you have reports from governments or state governments stating that they're going to have precautions of that magnitude, something's up. Something's up. What is it? Is really something going to happen, and they're just not trying to panic everyone if they know? I mean, I guess if they told you in a week's time, I don't know, something very bad is going to happen in the United States, I guess everyone would go nuts. So maybe that's the reason why. Well, be prepared, but we're not going to tell you what to be prepared for.
Yeah.
Because if you knew it, and if it was bad, the, the society would just go crazy. But them not stating what the real reason for these things are is kind of worse too, because it plays on people's mindset. They're worried about their family. They're worried about this. Me, I don't really care. If it's the end of the world, I'm one happy camper. I don't. It doesn't matter to me either way.
Yeah.
You know the song, right? It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Anyhow,
So
what else?
to go along with especially the cities and towns, Nvidia, I think something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll read this. In the Bible, it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Day 41 came and the rain stopped. Moses committed murder and hid in the desert for 40 years. Year 41 came and God called him to help rescue Israel. Moses went up on the mountain for 40 days. On day 41, he received the 10 Commandments. The Israelites wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. Year 41, they walked into the promised land. Goliath taunted Israel for 41 days. Day 41 came, and David slew him. Jonah preached the message of repentance in Nineveh. Sorry, I did screw that. Nineveh. So those cities were named Nineveh, and some of the towns were named Nineveh that come up through the path. Now, Jonah preached a message of repentance on Nineveh for 40 days. On day 41, God stopped his plan to destroy them. Jesus fasted and was tempted for 41 days. Day 41, the devil fled. After his resurrection, Jesus appeared to his disciples for 41 days. On day 41, he ascended into heaven. All this to say, don't quit. The rain will stop. The giant will fall, and you will enter your promised land. Don't give up at 40. 41 is coming. Now that goes along with Easter, and I'm not huge on the understanding of some of these things I just said, but when I saw how they interlocked with the path. And they talk about the giants, and they say that there's um, I think it's near Nineveh, uh, giant wilderness or something like that. So it's kind of putting it together and having all those things in that path. I'm not sure if it does anything for you, but kind of feels like could something awesome happen. Maybe not, coming back to Earth and and bringing everybody together, but could it be something that crazy? Yeah, I anything's possible. I mean, no one ever says that they know for sure what's going to happen if Christ will ever return.
Right. That's another the flip side to what I was saying earlier. Like if something bad's going to happen, that's one thing. But in that same matter of speaking, something good could happen, and something unexplained. Maybe there's going to be something that we're going to be able to see in the sky that we couldn't see before. Or I've heard things about, if you believe in aliens, that you might see ships or see something that you haven't seen before, and it might scare some people, and maybe that's why there's going to be like crowd control. It might be a good thing. Good. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's a bad thing that's going to happen.
Very true.
Very strange. You know what I mean? But you have all these, biblical references. You have uh, the scientific things that go along with that, and then like earthquakes and stuff like that possibly could happen, solar flares. You got to tie something in between the science and the faith and the preparation for readiness for that particular day. It's it's questionable. It could go either way. It could just pass like any other day, or it could be something bad, or it could be something really amazing. You know, um,
It is a week away as
yeah,
of tomorrow.
we will know, right?
It's kind
Yeah,
of exciting when you think about it.
I had this article here. I don't know if you were going to talk about it. NASA's going to fire some rockets off that day. Did you hear
Oh
that
yeah,
story?
to try to like what for though?
Uh,
Try to break through the firmament if that's true or not. Is the
yeah,
firmament real?
I
What
heard
was
that. I
saying?
heard that too. That I think that's more of an internet thing that they're going to try to break through. I have a article here that we can put up. Maybe let's see if I can get it up. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's a little. The first two paragraphs are a little interesting. And if you're talking about science, and then you're talking about the biblical part of it, let's see if I can get it up for you. Where's it at? Do you see that? Can you bring that up?
Oh, there it is. Yep.
Yeah, if you look at this, NASA will fire 3 rockets at the solar eclipse. Well, that's somewhat accurate. All right, let's see if I can. I can't tell if I don't have double screen here, so I'm going to see if I can scroll up to this. Is it scrolling? Big D, is it scrolling? You don't hear me? Did it scroll? Oh, there we go. I don't know if I can make this any bigger. I'll just. I can't do it. You still hear me? Big D's gone again. Here we go. What is going on, Big D? Let me see if I can make this a little larger. I want it to zoom in. Okay. So basically, what it's saying, I'm not going to read the whole thing. 3 rockets. They want to see what happens when the sudden to the atmosphere. They want to see what's going to happen to the atmosphere when it goes dark for that period of time. But you there, Big D? Where we going?
Yeah, this thing kicked me out again.
Okay.
I found a way to get back in quicker.
There, that's good. Good. Well, anyway, what I'm trying to talk about is the first 2 paragraphs on this is kind of interesting. When it says, let's see, where's it at? Blah, blah, blah. Let me see if I can keep scrolling. APEP is the name that they're giving it after the serpent deity of ancient Egypt mythology, nemesis of the sun deity Ra. Now, if anyone follows NASA, a little bit in question. This other paragraph here is kind of interesting. Is this the one? No, this isn't. I'm sorry. Sorry, folks. Got to find it. Seemed to have disappeared here. Why isn't it here? Okay. Well, anyway, they name it after the serpent deity of ancient Egypt, which is kind of weird because if you look at the NASA logo, there's a thing on there which they call a chevron, that just happens to look like the tongue of a snake to me. They call it a chevron. And if you add a T to NASA and scribble them words around, you can spell Satan.
Really?
It's funny that, they're using serpent deity for the mission of these 3 rockets. And I don't want to go in,
Yeah.
I don't want to go down that whole rabbit hole, but I'm just saying there's a a theory out there about that chevron that they use, which is, many think it's the serpent's tongue. In others, the snake, the liar, the deceiver. Add a T to NASA, you could spell Satan. Just saying. Going back to the story about the eclipse, you have the biblical and the scientific. And here you have a scientific, basically, NASA, calling this mission on the eclipse day, naming it after a serpent deity that was a nemesis of Ra, who Ra was a sun god. It's very weird. I know they like to play tricks with names and stuff. I'm just saying, So does that have anything to do with it? Who knows?
Yeah, and why are they firing rockets? What are they supposed to think they're going to do? Hit? Their rocket ain't going to go anywhere near space.
Right. Well, if you read the rest of the article, they have like little instruments that are going to be deployed, not very big. I think it has something to do with they want to see, which just kind of doesn't make any sense to me either, the effects of the atmosphere when the moon goes in front and blocks out the sun. So they want to. So if you think about that, that kind of doesn't make any sense. Well, why don't you just do that at nighttime when there is no sun to see what the cooler temperatures, how they affect the atmosphere?
Got it.
But I think what they're trying to do is the way they're trying to explain it is they're saying the sudden disappearance of the sun, what the effect that it's going to have on the atmosphere. But even that doesn't make any sense because I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why do you have to do that? Like, they wouldn't know that by this time. I don't know. I don't get it. But,
Well, they're expecting not anybody to have any questioning. They're thinking,
right,
"Oh, well, that's weird." Okay,
right,
and move on. And then
right,
there's just, just as soon as I seen that report, I'm like, what are they thinking?
right. Anyhow, that is on Forbes. If you just want to look it up.
Now, is Forbes a more a left leaning or right leaning?
Well, it's surprising that it's on Forbes anyhow, because isn't that more like financial?
Right.
financial
Yeah.
news, but yet it's on here, Forbes innovation and science section. So, you know, I don't know.
Hmm.
I mean that in itself, that it's on Forbes, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know, talking about being prepared, money, banks going down. Are the RV there yet? Silver,
Hmm.
gold, and yet a scientific newsletter is on Forbes about a NASA launching on the day of the solar eclipse. Strange, huh? I don't know.
That is very strange.
Okay, you could take that down if you want.
Okay.
There we go. You know, and circling back to the bridge thing, I know we got interrupted there with the technical difficulty. I just wanted another thing that we were kind of like leaning to, and with the redundant systems. Now we're talking about the solar eclipse. Here we are going into a solar eclipse, and supposedly no one knows what's going to happen, but we have redundant systems in these states. Do you understand?
Hmm.
Think about that. And here, going back to the bridge collapse and the ship, and there's supposedly the ships and airplanes and all should have redundant systems that even if one fails, you still should be able to fly or maneuver or navigate a boat. And yet they're kind of making it sound like a complete failure of all redundant systems. I don't know. And here we have an event coming up that we don't even know what's happening, but we have redundant things in place as for the solar eclipse. Very odd. Very odd.
Very true. There's too
Makes you
many
want,
questions, not enough
yeah,
answers.
got that right. Makes you want to think. What's going on? What is with this? Don't we all just want to live in peace and every day, every week? Seems like every day, every week, it's something else that we have to think about. I'm sick of it.
Well, that's all I have there, big boss.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. But
All
we
right, you
made
want
it.
to hang out for a few minutes?
Sure. At least we made it through the technical difficulties twice.
Yeah, I'm. The only thing I can think of is with the new laptop and the software is not how sometimes you have a Windows
Right.
operating system issue with software. Maybe
Right.
it needs to be updated. But I'm not getting any updates except for in the very beginning when I put the software on it.
Right.
All right, let me end this for everybody, and then thank you for everybody for stopping in, which I don't think anybody did.
Yeah. Because they probably don't know you're live. That's why.
Yeah, oh, my luck.
Maybe we got transported to like another time. You know what I mean? We're on another plane of existence. You know what I mean?
You're
We're
gonna come out of
running.
your studio,
We're
and there's gonna be like things you never seen before.
yeah, we're on the dark side of the moon, so we'll see the sun no matter what happens next week. And another thing about the sun and the moon and the eclipse, but why I'm thinking about it. Do you realize it happens on what they call a new moon, and we can't see the new moon?
Really?
Well, think about it. When you see an eclipse, do you see the moon coming towards the sun? No. All you see is the sun going black. You don't actually see the moon.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, you should think about that because some days you can see the sun and the moon at the same time in the sky, but during an eclipse, which is called the new moon, you don't see the moon at all. So is it really the moon that's covering up? And I got questions. Lots of questions.
That's funny.
You know what I
All
mean?
right. Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter, everyone.